Nowadays, by opening a savings account in a bank, you can get about 5% interest rate. But you didn't think or you didn't believe that banks allow you to make any money, did you? Banks would never do that. The interest rate that you receive from a savings account is always lower than the rate of inflation. So we still have to be creative and look for other ways of how to use this £1,000 to generate more value rather than lose any. And in this video, I will mention 5 easy ways of what you can do with the £1,000, not to just not lose any money, but also to generate some more at the end of the term. Keep watching this video if you are interested to find out which 5 ways I have in mind. And the thing number 1 that you can do with £1,000 is to invest it into a dividend stock. By investing it into a dividend stock, not only you become a shareholder of a certain company, but also you can benefit from the profits that this company makes. Once this company has a lot of cash, the company gives this cash to its shareholders, so you. The annual yield can be as high as 20%, but there is also a catch. If you invest, say, £1,000 into a dividend stock of one single company, you will rely on the price of the shares of this singular company. And if one share at the time of you investing cost $100 and you were getting a 10% return from dividends, so from each share that at the time cost $100, you were getting $10 of dividends, you've got to remember that the price of the shares will not stay the same and there is a chance that the price of each share will go down. So say over a year, the price of each share has come down by 50% and now each share costs only $50. Now you're receiving 10% of $50 and that's only $5 per share. On top of that, if you think that the company is not doing great and that's why the price of its stock is coming down, that means that the company is not doing well overall. And if the company continues paying out such high dividends, that's not good, because that would mean that soon the company will go bankrupt and you will lose your dividends and the value of your investment will go to zero. So that's why you have to be very careful when you are choosing the stock for dividends and don't jump in straight away just for the high yield. So you have to find the companies that offer the perfect ratio of stability and the dividend yield. One way of how you can do it is by Googling the biggest companies out of FTSE 100 that offer the highest dividend yield. For example, the expected yield of British American Tobacco is 8.75%, and this is already nearly double from what banks offer you if you leave your money in a savings account. Now, the thing number 2 that you can do with £1,000 that's lying in your bank account right now is to invest it into property. You might tell me, how can I invest just £1,000 into property? No house ever costs just £1,000. And you'll be correct. But there are funds that invest into property for you. This gives you 2 benefits. First of all, you don't have to save up a big amount of cash before you can invest into property in the first place. And secondly, you don't have to deal with tenants, because I, as an investor, can tell you that some tenants are not great and they cause a lot of trouble. So you don't really want to deal with it, you want to delegate it to somebody else. The funds that invest your money and the money of other investors into property are called REITs. And there are many different funds that invest into different types of properties. Some of them invest into residential real estate, some other ones will invest into commercial real estate. And depending on the risk that you are taking on, the interest that you'll be getting back, the return on your investment, would be different as well. There is just one rule that all REITs have to follow, the rule of 90%, which means that 90% of their taxable income they have to give away to their shareholders. The return on investment that you can get by investing £1,000 into REITs goes up to 20%. So if you invested £1,000 into it today, in a year's time you will receive £1,200 back. Not bad. Of course, there is a catch as well. Everybody in the whole world is now talking about the property market crash. It may crash anytime, but no one will be able to tell you when exactly it will happen. I do admit that right now there are all the signs that it might happen in the nearest future, but remember that property doesn't lose its value as quick as crypto, for example. So even if you invest into the REITs fund just before the property crash, then I don't think you will lose a lot of money, although of course, just like with any investment, the value of your investment may go down at any point in time. There is a huge number of different REITs. You can find the list of all of them online just by googling something like the most stable REITs or the highest paying REITs, and then choose the fund that suits your goal and your strategy. But if you're a beginner, it might be very hard to choose the high-paid and dividend stock or high-paying REITs. And that's where we get to the way number 3 of how you can use your £1,000 that right now is just lying in your bank. And the way number 3 is you can invest your money into an index fund. An index fund is essentially the same as investing into one company, but by investing into a fund, you can invest into many companies in one go. Those companies that are paying dividends will pay these dividends to you as well, because you anyway become a shareholder of this company, even though you didn't invest into it directly, but you invested into an index fund, which this company is a part of. This is how you kill two birds with one stone. You don't have to choose an individual company. You can just invest into an index fund, and in this way you don't have to put all your eggs into just one basket. There is also a big list of different index funds that you can invest your money in. Some of the most famous ones can be found on Vanguard or Invest Engine. And if you live in the UK, these are the two platforms that I would recommend for investing into index funds. They are the cheapest and they are the most reliable ones. The price of each share of this index fund may go down as well as it may go up. So if you invest £1,000 into one fund, be prepared that there is also a risk involved, although the risk is not as high as by investing into an individual company or into an individual REIT. The way number 4 of how you can use £1,000 will involve higher returns, potential returns, but also higher risks, because it involves crypto. You can just buy crypto and wait for the price of this crypto coin to go up. Or you can do staking. Staking in crypto world is essentially the same as opening a savings account with your fiat money in a normal bank. The only difference is here no fiat currency is involved and it's all in crypto. So you depend massively on the price of the crypto coins that you decide to stake. When you decide stake in crypto, you lend your coins to a platform, and the platform then uses your coins for its transactions between the different users. At the same time, you receive the interest rate, so more crypto, in return for doing this. The interest rate that you receive will depend on how stable the coin is. And the more stable the coin is, the lower the interest is that you'll get back. Another thing to consider is that different platforms will offer you different returns for staking the coins on their platform. So I would recommend you choose some of the biggest platforms and some of the most stable coins, because even with the most stable coins you still get more interest rates, a higher interest rate than the ordinary bank can offer you. For example, Ethereum can offer you only 2.48% estimated APR. At the same time, Polkadot already offers you 15.31%. If you want something in between, then Solana may offer you 7.58% of an estimated APR. If you don't know much about crypto and if you are not registered on crypto platforms, then maybe you should do some research before you decide to do staking. And in this case, the way number 5 that I'm going to mention right now will be a much easier solution for you. And the way number 5 of how you can use £1,000 that is just in the bank right now is by doing a peer-to-peer lending. It is totally legal in the UK, and many platforms that offer this service are FCA regulated. So if you register there as an investor, you, in a certain sense, become a bank and you lend money, you give loans out to people who need money right now but cannot just go and borrow the sum from a bank. It doesn't mean that these people who need this money right now are high-risk borrowers. It may just mean that they don't need much money and they don't want to go through the difficult process of borrowing some money from a bank. If you choose the right borrowers, it's a great way to get some good returns by doing absolutely nothing, because this is a completely passive way of generating some income from £1,000. In fact, you don't even need £1,000 to do peer-to-peer lending. The majority of the platforms in the UK allow you to lend as little as $100 at a time. The interest that you'll be able to get depends on the risk that you are getting involved into. And the higher the interest you are getting, the higher the risk is. Regarding the platforms where you can register, the two of the most famous ones in the UK are Easy Money and Cufflink. Easy Money right now offers about 5.5% to 9.5% return on investment, which twice more than a usual bank. The Cufflink interest rate is up to 9.8% per year. Of course, if the borrower returns your money earlier, then you will lose some of the profits. So none of these 5 ways are as straightforward as just keeping your money in a bank and open a savings account. But they also generate passive income. Once you start seeing some substantial sums coming into your bank account from the passive income generated from just £1,000 that you've invested today, this process becomes quite addictive, and you will want to invest more and more money to generate more and more passive income. I hope you found this video useful, and I hope at least one of these 5 ways that I've mentioned will generate some passive income for you. And I also hope to see you soon in my next videos. Bye bye.